Hello, guys. You know, making video is kind of addictive to this point that I was just continue the topic of the about the escape from hospital series, and that so miserable for me that my tummy is still not coming back to me. So I'm still drinking hot water. Drinking hot water is good for your tummy. I was just thinking that there was also another. I had two episodes of a seafood allergy, and one occasion it was particularly interesting because uh, in the previous night that I think I had too much shrimp, and the outburst did not come out right away. And so the next day I was in court. I was actually in the middle of a proceeding translating, and all of a sudden the seafood allergy outburst came out. It was a horrible experience, and that at one moment that so I was sweating like hell, and at one moment my eyes was so starry. There's all the stars in that. I was for a moment that about half minute I was completely black out. So but I was still translating at the time. So afterwards, that when it started to fade out, and during lunchtime in the cafeteria, I bump into this lawman, and he's like, "Thank you very much to do a hard job. You were sweating as hell." I was like, "That was because I had a seafood allergy." That was what happened, and I explained this. So no shrimp for me. Um, so I'm allergic to, I think, crabs, shrimp, and lobster. The second episode that I was at, I think in the previous night, or yeah, just during the night, we went to a buffet. So I think I had to, you're kind of greedy. You ate too much lobster. So in the middle of the night, it started to break out, and that breakout is a bit different. It was just I started to have rashes all over my skin, and that it was a very unpleasant experience because you're so itchy, so uncomfortable. It was just so painful, and it was just. And then luckily, my girl went to went to get me some Benadryls, and that kind of alleviated it. So that was another episode. So no luck for me with these kind of seafood, but fish is okay for me. Yeah, everybody had their little bit of problem, but what just got me thinking, actually, what it was is that see throughout these episodes of what I mentioned about all of these problems that I had, it never prevent me from having girlfriends. And now that I look back on it, it was just I was so grateful that that I had these uh, lovely girls, loved ones by my side all the times. And even though now that we separated, but I had no beef, no qualm against any of them. And I am, on the other hand, I'm so grateful that they're there. Say, like, I always have these tummy problems. Like I said, now that I can only have hot water because I couldn't do it. And then, um, oh, yeah. I just find that every different girl, every different woman had their different recipe of how to make a gruel. For example, my mother is just making a gruel, like put a bunch of rice in there and then boil it up, and that's the most simple way to do it. And that every girl has a little bit of different recipe, and I'll say that my favorite is my ex-wife. She's done such a great job because I think it's because she's from Hong Kong, or maybe she just loved to do. She loves cooking, and she majored in nutritionist. So the way she took care of me was just amazing. The way she did her gruel is that she had to grind the rice first, and then make the gruel, and she add fish in there. So it makes, I think it's a Hong Kong delicacy or something, which is very, very tasteful. It really saved me. Mm. That is why I'm so grateful that she took care of me for those years, even though we're just married for 1 year, but we were together for over 3 years. Yeah, and for example, they all when I mentioned that I had the herniated spinal disc because I had to go to physical therapy, that they all pop up. I mean, sometimes they'll accompany with me, or sometimes I'll go first, and that the other girl that was showed up in the middle of the session or something. So when they showed up, it was just no fun for me. So I better behave like a good boy. So sometimes I rather not show up because so I can talk to the nurse. But when they show up, of course, I'm being a good boy, and no fun for me. So, and that at the time I was not even using a smartphone yet, but my girlfriend was using smartphones, so I just borrowed her smartphone. But I don't play game on phones. I was checking out Wikipedia on some military stuff. I think called U.S. Military Integrated Strategy or something about the geopolitic nuclear things, and that anyway, that's just a side. What I want to emphasize is that I'm always grateful that I always have these girls by my side, that when you go through these episodes, like I mentioned once about that I had an outbreak of psoriasis. That was the time I was married, and that my wife was just completely accompanying me to see a dermatologist, which is actually complicated things because by theory is that UV ultraviolet therapy is good for your psoriasis skin, but then because I have a really pale skin, and that I got burned with the UV. It was too much, so actually it made it worse, much worse, and that what am I gonna do? It was, I didn't know how much time I need to be in this UV light for this amount of time. I got completely burned, and then it got really worse, and then that. But my wife is always, my ex-wife now. She was always with me, and she applied these creams on me every day, like twice a day or things like that. So what I want to emphasize is that these problems that you had would not affect you having girlfriends, and so many of these girls are so great to me at this point that I was just really grateful about the fact that and see, even though these relationships start and end for a couple of years, never once the relationship was because of a cheating problem that got to end. There was only one occasion that one of my ex just once that cheated on me, and that's how it got ended. But still, up until now, that I wouldn't hold grudges, hold beef, or anything, because of course I was being an impish brat. I was being enfant terrible, and obviously we'd fight. Obviously we'd bicker, all the badgering, all the fighting, all the altercations and things that got up because we had our differences, and that. But I never hold the grudges, and that now that I think about it, I'm really thankful for what they did for me, and of course we have differences that not getting into the detail that yeah, I was once, there was one occasion that I'm not going to disclose the reason, but I was hospitalized for over half month. Uh, but in that occasion, that my ex-wife was still being very supportive, and that now that I think about it, and she came to the hospital because I was in completely coma for like over 3 days, and that she came to see me, and that she wrote me lovely notes every day, like diary, things like that, and then like wash my hair, like dry wash your hair and things like that, and it was really pleasant. I mean, even if, let's say you got a bad tummy like right now, even if I just appreciate that she's by my side, just she loves to play little games with on her smartphone. I just like even just her company, just by my side, and I was just lying there. What are you gonna do with the bad tummy? You gotta wait it out. So, yeah, I'm waiting it out, and that I always genuinely loved them. I mean, for the time being, when we were together, and that just want to share with you guys about that. And now it's getting sentimental. Now that is what I said about. Yeah, uh, I'm a sentimental person, but of course I genuinely loved them. For see, we had our differences, of course. For just little example, because the only problem I had with my ex my ex-wife is that she smokes. So when you want to get intimate with her, and all of a sudden that you found out that, well, she just had a smoke, and then see, I don't like girls smoke. Only only girls in the bar smokes, but that's not not my wife. Just we had that problem, along with a lot of others, my issues and yeah, things like that. But you know, a relationship starts and ends, and that I really appreciate that whatever they did, that all the little things, big things, I remember all. All right, this got a little bit long. All right, talk to you later.